Welcome everyone to day 3 of the UKSG ZX Spectrum Marathon Special. We're kicking things off tonight with a run from Digital Duck. He's running Jet Set Willy 2. Take it away.
Yep, so thank you for that. As you heard, I'm Digital Duck running Jet Set Willy 2. I'm joined on commentary by Ruffled Bricks.
Hello.
And this is quite a long run, so we're just going to get straight into it and then we'll talk about it as we go. So let's go. Let's load my... I start from a save state here because it makes all of the patterns easier. There we go. Okay, let's go in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so this is Jet Set Willy 2, but in fact it's actually Jet Set Willy 2 Plus. It's a remake or a rewrite of the engine from 2016/2017 by the original developer of Jet Set Willy 2. And it makes quite a significant number of improvements. We're going to see them quite a lot as we go. The biggest change is that we actually start in the cartography room, and we'll see what that's about later on. I've just messed that up already. Let's try that again.
Yeah, the change in starting position is an interesting one. I think part of it is to give a bit more of an appreciation of the new parts that were added to in Jet Set Willy 2. Just to be clear about Jet Set Willy 2, it's actually not really a sequel of per se of the game. It's more of an expansion of the original Jet Set Willy. So what you will see as Duck goes around the map is various rooms that were pretty much as they were in the original Jet Set Willy game, but with extra rooms added in the middle of and around it. And then, as this is an updated version, Jet Set Willy 2 Plus by Derek Rosen, then there's going to be a bunch of extra rooms on top of that as well that we'll see as we go along. This is the foot room that Duck has just been doing here. Obviously a homage to Monty Python, and it's also a reference to the Game Over screen, which if you were watching the marathon yesterday, then you saw that twice. You're welcome. The way that the foot room, you had to do that is you had to get the top foot item first, because if you get the bottom one first and then the top one last, you cannot escape from that room in time, and it will reset.
Well, you'll have to lose a life to get through the foot, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, this whole spaceship section of the game. Part of the plot with this is it's supposed to be an aging Willy kind of remembering back to the adventures that he had in Jet Set Willy 1. I mean, if you can call cleaning up a mansion an adventure, then
Well,
that's
it is the way Willy did it.
That's true. Yes, absolutely. But because he's old, he's sort of misremembered it to a significant degree. And he's misremembered it so intensely that he actually spends a significant portion of it on the Starship Enterprise.
Yeah, he must have been watching too much Star Trek, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. You probably notice as Duck goes around this spaceship area of the game that there are loads of references to Star Trek. So Captain Slog is there, obviously a reference to Captain's Log. And if you actually look at all of these rooms in the spaceship put together on a map, then it is actually the Starship Enterprise in shape.
And yeah, and we'll see that when we get back to the cartography room near the end.
Yes, beam me down, Spotty here. So yeah, you get teleportation in this game, which you don't in the original Jet Set Willy. And the first section that we're using the teleporter here for is actually another entirely new section for Jet Set Willy 2. It is an alien planet that Willy has beamed towards. Now, Duck here is collecting all the items. This is a 100% run, isn't it, Duck?
Yes.
Yeah, and what that means is that Duck needs to collect all, I believe it's 320 items in the game.
There's 325
325
in the main part of the game, and then there's another 5 afterwards as well.
Yeah,
you need to collect all of them.
Yes, and he also needs to visit all of the rooms in the game. I think there's about 160 or so. So that's what needs to be done in order to achieve the 100% criteria, and that was a very nice nice clutch dodge there. Oh wait, I see what you were going all about now. I am on a 3-second delay, gang, so if I don't seem to be reacting correctly to stuff, I blame that.
I'm going to say that I'm also on a 3-second delay, and that's why I'm playing so badly.
I think that's a perfectly valid alibi. Here's a nice little bit coming up here, the secret passageway, which actually does not appear in the cartography room, although we will talk about that a little bit more later. As you can see, it actually takes you to the left-hand side of that room, so there's quite a nice amount of playing with the physics of the rooms and the geography of the rooms in this game. Actually, there'll be more of that to see a bit later on. This whole section here is called Incredible Big Hole in the Ground, but because it's such a big hole, the title has been strewn across the 3 screens just to highlight how big it is. It's also a room, it's an example of a room actually that has been made fairer, I would say, in this version.
It's much easier in this version, yeah.
Yeah, this is Looney Jet Set. This is a reference to the Jetpack game from the ZX Spectrum, and there was also the Eggoids, which is a reference to what's it called again? Looney Jetman. Lunar
Jetman, yeah.
Yes, Lunar Jetman. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, I only looked that up today, but yeah, there's a lot of references to kind of contemporary Spectrum games in the levels in this game. So here we go on to another teleporter here. I believe this takes you back to yes, it takes you back to Beam Me Down Spotty, and we're going to our second teleport of the game now, which is to a room that you should all be very familiar with at this point, which is the bathroom. As you can see, teleporting close to where he starts in Jet Set Willy 2, not quite in the bath. And Duck is going through. You've seen some of the new rooms that have been actually added in Jet Set Willy 2 here. There's the Dumbwaiter. There's Macaroni Ted here, which is a reference to Technician Ted, which was a very heavily Jet Set Willy inspired game from around the same time. And I'm trying to remember the route here because I've not seen this run in a while.
That was a very stupid jump there, but it's basically the any percent route for a while.
Yes,
the normal Jet Set Willy any percent route here.
That's probably why I can't remember it. But yes, so here this section of gameplay is going to be very familiar to most people who've watched us speedrunning this in the last year. And the strats are mostly the same. One thing you might have noticed about Jet Set Willy 2 is that, and Jet Set Willy 2 Plus maintains this, is the gameplay is significantly faster than it was in Jet Set Willy 1. And Duck is actually deliberately slowing it down a little bit here by keeping the music on, which is not something we would do for the other Jet Set Willy games, but Jet Set Willy 2 is so phenomenally fast in operation that actually having the music on does really help with a lot of the jumps in this. In fact, if you actually have the music off for the game, then it runs at more or less double speeds to the original Jet Set Willy.
Yeah, I mean you can see that the time run in the right hand side, the bottom right there, is based on the original Jet Set Willy. So you can already see how much faster than the original it's running.
Yeah, like it does also mean that this is probably the only minor Willy game that, for speedrun wise, you can actually measure the time via IGT. You don't really have a kind of clear indication of that in the other games here. So once again, this is all pretty much the same. The arrows, you might notice, have been cleared up a little bit in their operation. Rather than hearing a sound and then come, they pretty much spawn the moment the sound is played. Another thing you'll notice is the conservatory roof has also been cleared up in this version as well. You don't need to take a death in order to grab the item on the left-hand side now. And also, I don't think there's any items in the swimming pool this time round.
They have completely removed it.
Yes, probably for the best. And so it's going around the West Wing section again now. Speaking of which, speaking of deaths, by the way, the death mechanic is something that's worth discussing in this game. So, much like the original Jet Set Willy. Jet Set Willy 2 did have a sort of death warp mechanic-esque, in that, like, when you actually lost a life, you would respawn, not at the beginning of the room where you entered it, but actually on the last kind of safe bit of flat ground that you were on. This, however, did make the game very difficult in some regards, because just like in the original Jet Set Willy, you could instantly game over in various sections of the game just by dying and then respawning on an enemy. And so in this Jet Set Willy 2 Plus, Derek Rosen has actually added a nice little mechanic, which you've already seen a few times in the run, whereby when Willy loses a life, he has a damage boost from it. So he actually has a short period of invincibility whilst just after he respawns, and that is a significant game changer in terms of making the game more fair. And also, in terms of getting 100% in this game, there are going to be a few rooms coming up where Duck will actually need to lose lives in order to visit them. So by having that, it does actually help a significant amount. Now here we are in, once again, our favourite room. No longer with Teletubbies in it, though. It's been recoloured. And Duck is actually took some deliberate deaths in the Forgotten Abbey there, because
it's easier that way.
Yeah, as you saw yesterday, that is not a particularly easy room, and so that's another reason why the damage boosts are beneficial in this game. Now, here's the trip switch. This is new to Jet Set Willy 2. A lot of the section that we're going to see underground now is all brand new in Jet Set Willy 2. And there is a switch in the top left of this room, which is significant. This is going to activate the yacht when we go to that later. And in terms of what that means, I'm going to wait until we get there so we can reveal that. But it is definitely need to get that switch in order to be able to 100% this particular run.
It's especially annoying because it's actually only one item that the
yes,
trip switch
yeah,
gives you access to, but you have to go all the way around the entire mansion to get back there. So it's probably the longest item in the game.
It's an item that you would skip if you were doing any percent, but as this is 100, then Duck is consigned to get it. Now here we are going for another series of new rooms on this conveyor belt section here. So, and a bunch of these titles here may seem a bit odd. They are very much in references to a developer who worked at software projects called Wonga, and Wonga actually owned a budgie. And so below this room is going to be a room called Wonga's Spillage Tray, which we will see fairly soon, and that is basically just a reference to Wonga's budgie. Also, Potty Pot Plant here. In the original Jet Set Willy 2, you only had one Potty Pot Plant to collect. One of the things that Derek Rosen has done with this version of the game, which is quite nice, is that some of the items that are actually slightly more difficult to collect, he's actually gone and added extra items there just to make the journey a bit more worth it than it would seem otherwise. And Potty Pot Plant is one example. Woody's Bird Bath again, CD Hole again, these are all reference to Wonga's budgie. Mm-hmm. And the zoo, I believe, is the nickname that was given to the software project offices. It's also some nice new camel sprite, by the way. That's the first instance we get to see that. Some of the new sprites in this game actually are really quite cool, I think. Like Matthew Smith, I think, largely has the edge in terms of being a sprite maker. But there are a few noteworthy new ones in this one. This Rigor Mortis room, the object is fairly simple. Once you grab the two crosses, the two monks suddenly come to life. Very nicely dodged there by Duck. And going down now into the pit gear on section. A lot of the rooms around here are kind of reference to Steve Wetherill, who was the other developer on Jet Set Willy 2. They're a reference to both the fact that he worked in the coal mines and also that he's Northern. So as you can see, Toot Rat Hole and Down Toot Pit, there's a lot of missing letters in there in homage to his homeland. And here's an example of where Duck has had to take a death in order to 100% this route. So he's fallen down the well, which there's 3 wells there, so that the game actually says to you, well. and died in the last room there drinking Vata. So that's basically just a fall down to nowhere. And there's nothing down there whatsoever, no items or anything. But because for the 100% you have to visit every single room, then we had to take the hit.
Yeah, so in an any percent run, you just wouldn't go down there at all. There's no need, as you said, there's no items, but for 100%, we do go there, and we'll go a few other rooms.
Yes,
And
there was
are just dead ends,
yeah,
literally.
and there was we went through the crypt just there, and that's another example of how damage boosts can help a lot in this game. Like the object in that room was to activate the switch at the top, and that would actually expand the monk's cycle so that you could jump past him, but Duck just basically walked straight through
It takes
him.
too long.
Yeah, exactly. Here's the highway to hell. This is the pit where in Jet Set Willy 1, if you fell down it, you would end up in Entrance to Hades. And Entrance to Hades is still here, but now we have this much more elaborate series of platforms that you have to go down in order to get there. Again, nothing of note really in Entrance to Hades. It's just a room that Dux had to visit in order to hundo this route. But one thing that's notable about this room is these platforms. There's 3 rooms in the game that actually have moving platforms like these, and it's for this reason that Duck actually loaded the save state at the beginning of the run, because basically, like although they operate on a set pattern, the longer you play the game, as in the more attempts that you do it will kind of keep going, whereas all the other cycles will remain constant in the game. And so in order to ensure that you actually get a consistent pattern on those platforms, then you kind of need to be playing this game from a fresh attempt, effectively. Otherwise, the patterns will be wildly off base. Now we're back onto vanilla Jet Set Willy 1 stuff here. One thing to note here is that Under the Drive has been made slightly fairer in Jet Set Willy 2. There's now, I believe, a 2-pixel range.
It's a 2-pixel range, yeah.
Yeah, for that jump rather than 1. And I think given the speed of the game, I think that is very much a merciful addition to the game.
I think actually there's no point in the game at which you need to be pixel perfect now. I think they've all been removed.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously sections where it would be helpful if it was pixel perfect, for stair clips and stuff like that. But
and speedrun strats as well.
Yes, absolutely. Now the garden is a room that has been significantly improved for Jet Set Willy 2 Plus. Those bushes that Duck jumped over on the way into the off license there, they were twice as high in the original Jet Set Willy 2, and because of that, it meant that you pretty much needed pixel perfect jumping to get across that. So that was 4 pixel perfect jumps across a conveyor belt that you needed to be able to get past that. And although there is actually a teleport that you can use to get to the off license in this version of the game, that wasn't in Jet Set Willy 2, the original one. So it's again another drastic improvement on the game for that particular room. Always struck me as weird as well that the garden was placed between the bridge and the off license.
Yeah, you think it'd be a bit earlier.
You think it'd be closer to Willy's house, actually.
Maybe even before the mega tree.
Maybe he thinks he owns more land than he does in this flashback. I don't know.
One thing I should mention is that I normally death warp in the garden because you can.
Oh yes,
you can save
yeah.
going back and forth an extra time, but my life count isn't looking too healthy right now, so I thought probably best not to.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Actually, it's kind of cool to see the garden done normally as well. Now, the Mega Tree is more or less the same as the original Jet Set Willy, with some minor changes here and there. The main change I remember with this section is that there has been an extra arrow added to Out on a Limb. So that room is a little bit more tricky now than it was in the original. Another thing to bear in mind is that there's now an extra room to the left of Out on a Limb, which you will see shortly. Again, it is not a room that has any point or necessity to it whatsoever. But because of the 100% route that Duck is going in there, he's going to have to take a hit here. and drop through it. Yes,
Wow.
very, 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 very satisfying for your inner child. But yeah. And also, a lovely kind of bonus from doing that is that Duck is then able to use the damage boost there to drop through the enemy on a branch over the drive, which just makes for just a slightly quicker cycle on that section. We're now going to the bottom of the mega tree, and again, if you were panicking that Duck forgot that item at the left there, now's the time when he's going to get it. And we're heading back towards the house now. And again, this is all kind of like more or less the same as the original, I think. One thing to note is that the jumping mechanism has actually been changed a little bit in this game compared to Jet Set Willy 1. In Jet Set Willy 1, and in Manic Miner for that matter, when Willy jumps, he actually loses a frame at the end of his jump. Which means that like jumping is actually not faster than walking. It actually slows you down in comparison. Whereas in this one, the jumping has been changed a bit, so now there is no lost frame at the end of each jump. And that means that you can basically just run and jump and it'll be the same speed. These are new rooms. So the butler's pantry here is a new one. And Duck used a very nice trick there on the conveyor belt, which is that to turn around on it, there's actually kind of like, is it like maybe 1 or 2 pixels at the end of
it's a whole cell as long as part of your sprite is off the edge of the conveyor. If you press jump and you're not pressing anything, you'll actually do a vertical jump.
Yeah.
And you can then chain that into a jump in the opposite direction.
Yes, absolutely. We also went through the Megaron there, which is, I would argue, one of the more perfunctory additions to Jet Set Willy 2, along with the study. This is a little bit harder. The library here has these 4 enemies in them, and again, I'd say this is way worse than Forgotten Abbey. This section, I've always found these blighters are really tough to get past.
Yeah, I'd normally death warp there as well, but again,
yeah,
I'm not liking my life count here.
Understandable. Here we are in the chapel. And Duck is going to exploit a route in this that we didn't do in Jet Set Willy 1 yesterday, but that's just because in certain speedrun routes in Jet Set Willy 1 you would, which is you can drop through that pit underneath the chapel and it will lead to the top of Ballroom West. And that's a route that we would use in the warpless run for Jet Set Willy 2. Or Jet Set Willy 1, sorry. There is no warpless run for Jet Set Willy 2 because there's no unintended warps. Right, here we go, back up. And now Duck is going to scale up the east wall. And one of the ways that the jump mechanism has changed, another one of the ways it's changed, is that actually back and forth jumps in this game are a lot easier than they were in Jet Set Willy 1. Because here you literally just need to hold the opposite direction whilst you're in the jump. And then if you keep holding jump, then you will automatically jump the opposite way, which means this priest hole, as long as you get the starting position right.
I didn't, but I recovered it fine. So
it was a very nice recovery there. But yes, you can very easily just spam jumps and left and right up there and get to the top. We're now coming up to a brand new room for Jet Set Willy 2 Plus, actually. So in the original Jet Set Willy 2, this present wrapping room here was actually just a large effigy of a camel. The room didn't have any title apart from a square bracket, and it basically just had no function. It was just something that was put in to pad out the top of the room to make the cartography room work. But Rosen clearly realised that there was more could be done with it. So that present wrapping room there, no items in it or anything, but again, it has those moving platforms that we were discussing earlier, which you kind of want a fresh load of the game for. Just went through Hero Worship as well, which is a great room, I think. And it speaks to Willy's own memories of his past, that like he actually thought he had a monument to himself in his attic.
Maybe he did, and we just didn't see that in the.
Yeah, that's just true. We were so distracted by the elephant.
Yeah.
Which has been renamed in this, by the way. I don't know. I don't remember why it was renamed, but there's no reference to Dr. Jones anymore, and so the room is now called "I mean, even I don't believe this." And I don't believe you can do rope warp in this game on the roof there. Nonetheless, I don't think Duck would be interested in such shenanigans anyway.
I mean, at this speed, it's probably best not to anyway.
Yes, absolutely. And then with Quirker Fleeg, I'm sure I've seen some. I forgot to mention this yesterday, actually, but these battlements were all a reference to, is it Hunchback?
Hunchback,
the name of the game? Yeah, an old ZX Spectrum game from the time. On top of the house here, I believe, is still the highest possible fall that you can have in the game if you jump off the edge of that. And you might be expecting Ballroom East as we go through the ceiling here, but no, actually, it's been replaced by the Belfry in Jet Set Willy 2. And in Jet Set Willy 2 Plus, this is another room that has been significantly improved from Jet Set Willy 2. This is another room where you went all this way just for one item to begin with. And Rosen clearly realised that the risk-reward ratio wasn't really worth it, so he's put this in. This is also a good chance to talk about the fact that in Jet Set Willy 2 Plus, the crumbling platforms from Manic Miner have been reinstated. These were not in Jet Set Willy or Jet Set Willy 2, for that matter, but there's now several rooms in this version of the game that have that. And I'd say it's a welcome back for those, because they were always one of my favourite sort of landscape features of Manic Miner. Now, Duck's gone back on himself here, and that's because it's going up to the watchtower. In Jet Set Willy 1, if you went up that conveyor belt at the top there and jumped through the ceiling, it would actually warp you to the off license, which was another intended warp, I believe. But in this one, it's actually now been turned into the rocket room. And the rocket room in Jet Set Willy 2 was your actual main way of getting onto the Starship Enterprise. Here, it's just one route in terms of getting back to the spaceship, given that you actually start on it. And now Duck is going to explore the right-hand side of the ship. And again, there's going to be quite a few Star Trek references coming up in this section, I believe.
Yeah, this whole section is just Star Trek references, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. I can't remember what NCC 1501 is, though. I don't think actually they mentioned that in the interviews with the developers, but I'm sure some clever clogs in chat can look that up. IAPN is obviously II Captain, I believe, and. Here, I don't know whether Duck is going to do this, but this section to the right here... Okay, yeah, he's doing it now. So this UFO, when you damage through it, you actually find this whole new section for Jet Set Willy 2 Plus. I mean, it was technically in Jet Set Willy 2, but you couldn't access it due to the death mechanics. But here, you damage boost through it, and you can get a huge swathe of items that I think are pretty much essential in any percent as well, in terms of how many items you need.
Because there's 60 in here, and you can only miss 25 in total, or 27 in total.
Yeah, so you absolutely have to go here. And it's another example of having to lose a life in order to complete the game, which you would need in whichever way you were doing this. But I'd say it's handled in a slightly more dignified, shall we say, way than the conservatory roof item was in Jet Set Willy. Trouble with Tribbles is obviously another Star Trek reference, and this is the last room, I believe, where we're going to be facing these platforms with the moving gaps in them.
Yes. These are a reference to Jumping Jack, by the way, the moving platforms.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same mechanics that game uses.
Yeah, and Duck told me what someone else was a reference to the other day as well, but I forgot.
So Cameron Else is the person who wrote in about the original Jet Set Willy bugs.
That's right.
And also made some ports of Jet Set Willy to various other platforms.
Yes.
So they've been commemorated in Jet Set Willy 2.
Yes, absolutely. And here's the camels again. And also Macaroni Ted makes another appearance. I forgot to mention about Macaroni Ted that sprite, and it's one of my favourite sprites in the game, I have to say. But that's actually a Matthew Smith original sprite. It was a sprite that was actually within the coding of the original Jet Set Willy, but never actually got used in the final game. So it's really nice that it gets a kind of proper look in Jet Set Willy 2. I think it's quite a popular sprite in kind of mods as well. I've seen it used a lot in.
It's a fun one.
Yeah. In fact, someone actually made one. I remember looking online, and someone actually built an actual Macaroni Ted mod, like Airfix model kind of thing. So, if you're struggling for Christmas present ideas this year, then look that up. And another reference to Pac-Man in the Flower Power Source room there. It doesn't matter where you are in a minor Willy game, you're never more than 6 feet away from a Pac-Man reference. And this whole section is kind of a dead end, so Duck is going to have to now go back on himself in order to get back to the other side of the ship.
Yeah, so a good portion of this is what we skip in any percent because of it being a massive dead end.
Also, Maria in space there, by the way. Maria gets a lot more of a look in this game as well. There's 2 rooms on the spaceship, I believe, where she is visible in some way. A lot of significances of their relationship is still never really elaborated upon in this game. So here we go back into IAPN.
That was not the jump I intended, but it worked. So
that was very. That's the rope physics in this game haven't necessarily become any more clear compared to the originals. And now this room here, Unrestrained, this is a reference to the fact that Derek Rosen actually completely, I believe, rebuilt the engine for this game. And the original engine would only allow you to have 8 sprites on the screen at once, 8 enemy sprites. But that one, he basically just filled it with everyone he could. And we just went through the cartography room as well. Cartography room we will be explaining in more detail in the run after this one. But just as a quick primer, that room basically populates a platform in it for every room in the game that you visit. And it does that in basically identically to the map of the game. So you need to visit a certain number of rooms in the game in order to actually be able to get the item in the cartography room. And you notice when we actually started it earlier on that it was empty in terms of the platforms in there, whereas now very full because Duck has had a good old nosy around the mansion and beyond. Now here we are on the 3rd teleport. And this one takes you to the back door. So if you're wondering why Duck missed that section earlier on, because he's now going to explore this section here. Part of the reason he's doing it in this order is because this section has actually changed shape significantly from Jet Set Willy. So this rope in the cold store, in the original Jet Set Willy, if you climbed up it all the way to the top, you'd actually end up at the bottom of the swimming pool. In this game, however, that's actually been changed, and you now end up in a series of sewers. And this is a whole new section that was created for Jet Set Willy 2. Another thing I want to say about this is that that pair of balls in the main entrance, that enemy there, moves so ridiculously fast in the original Jet Set Willy that I can't believe anyone ever got into that room without dying, and it has been nerfed considerably for Jet Set Willy 2 Plus. Mega Hill and Holt Road, these are all references to the areas that the devs lived in from Software Project. And this is another new section for Jet Set Willy 2 Plus. Experiment X and the Secret Lab here. They're all behind the wall of the rather barren Holt Road. And there's a whole new section of items here that Duck needs to collect. And any thoughts on this section, Duck?
Yes,
I know you're a bit busy at the moment. But...
I mean, I'm not that busy here. This is what we're basically doing is we have to do a few laps because we can't actually collect all of the items in the secret lab in one go because we've got different areas we want to enter. So we're going to enter at one height, collect everything we can, then go back at a different height and just repeat that a couple of times. So I'm going to save this one item till last because we need to go back.
Yeah, same sort of thing we did with the under the mega tree earlier. And now this whole section down here where we go past the kimberlite pipe, and then there's a very fast lift all the way down to the bottom where you now see abandoned workings here. These are all enemies from Manic Miner, if you recall. It's the robot from the first level. And here is
my favourite room.
Yes, Duck's favourite room here, which is Eureka, which is, of course, the triangle from the starting menu of the game. It does absolutely nothing other than glow many different colours when you get near it, and also the enemies stops moving within it. But yeah, very interesting addition to the game. Going back up the abandoned workings here again, loads of crumbling platforms here, so you have to kind of be pretty quick and efficient in the way that you tackle this section. And then you have to, there's no lift back up, sadly, so you have to jump all the way back up. Fortunately, as we mentioned before, there's the back and forth jump mechanic in this game, which makes it significantly quicker. And also, another thing to note is those birds in Experiment X flying in diagonal sections and bouncing off walls here. That was something that was only introduced in Jet Set Willy 2, actually. Like most sprites from Jet Set Willy, the original, all of them, in fact, only moved up or down. So these kind of like Pong-like bouncing off walls is a new addition to the game. It's downstairs. This is a bit of a fiddly room to get because these 4 items here, as you can see, above a conveyor belt. And whilst the jump mechanics have changed a bit, the conveyor belt ones haven't. So Duck is taking a damage boost there in order just to make it a little bit easier.
Not fully intended, but it's fine.
Partially intended is fine. Now here we go into the sewers here. And again, trying to imagine the geography of this game can be a little on the challenging side because these sewers are directly above the cold store, but then so is the swimming pool. So trying to figure out how these all fit together is a nice little challenge for you if you feel so inclined. A few new enemy sprites here, actually. These fire-breathing dinosaurs are quite enjoyable. You're going to see Ted again at the top here. This time you only see half of Ted, and as a periscope in this in the drains here. And this drip coming up. This is a damage boost as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
I believe
I've got plenty of lives. I'm just jumping through it because it takes ages if you want to wait for an open gap.
Yeah, the cycle on there, as you can see, is just all over the place because it's 3 different drips, as far as I can tell, kind of like all vying for attention. So yeah, best to damage boost that one. You have to do an entire lap and a half of this section as well, just because to get that item in the bottom right of the drains requires you to go all the way under the water there. Another damage boost there, and you're going to fall out, and the place that you fall out is, of course, the beach. So again, trying to figure out the physics of this is, or the geography of this, it's kind of interesting. Duck's just gone into the tool shed there. Once again, the death warp actually works more or less the same as it does in Jet Set Willy, because although you don't respawn at the entrance to the room, you pretty much end up in the same spot. And here we go on the yacht. Now, this room is more or less the same as it was in the original. However, Duck is having to go off the side here because we have to find this room here, the cheat.
Yeah, so when you first discover the room, it looks like you can walk all the way over to the left, but a whole bunch of arrows will come to stop you. Just to stop you from actually cheating, which is, I find, quite funny.
Yeah, but once again, Duck had to go into that room there to 100%. And off goes the yacht there, and now we're on the deserted island. And basically, you just grab the item, which looks to me like a papaya, and then you just have to wait for that timer at the top of the room to get down to 0 before you can actually escape from the island. There is a what's meant to be a shark down there, but obviously when it goes behind the island, comes out of the island, you can see it's a saw. So, making the best of a limited section of sprites.
You can just chill out here for a second, and stretch my muscles for the final part of the game.
Yeah, this would be the donation section if this was a donations marathon, but as it's not, we're just chilling. And then when the timer goes down to 0, the tree on the right, which would otherwise be blocking your progress, sinks into the ground. I believe if you stand too close to it, you will die.
You're actually forced to the left when it starts.
Oh, right, okay.
It will make you walk to the left.
And now here is another teleporter. And I forget, does this take you back to... Oh yes, beat me down Spotty again.
Yep. And
Yeah.
we go back to the bathroom for the final run.
Yes, so now the last few rooms here.
You might notice we haven't collected the tap yet.
There's no need, actually, I don't think.
We're, yeah, I mean, it says 100%, but, you know, 99%, that's close enough.
It's just boring, isn't it, the tap?
Yeah.
You know, like, there's better items to collect. Dumb Waiter, by the way, there's two things about this. First of all, it's a reference to a game called Wacky Waiters from around the same time. But also, if you think about it, Willie has basically remembered that he had a dumb waiter right next to his bathroom. So, in terms of living possibilities there, I think that's an incredible lifestyle aim. Dumb Waiter, of course, for those who don't know, it's a little lift that you can use to take food up to a higher section of a building. Here comes the top landing now. We Duck getting the light, which is again the last, more or less the last item in the game, touching the bed, and there we go. And he doesn't go quite as fast to the bathroom as he does in the original. But Duck, do you want to explain how this game's going to end?
Yeah, so we remember how in Jet Set Willy we went to the toilet and vomited? Well, in this game we do something different. First of all, we're going to finally collect that tap on the way. And,
we got you.
And there we go in the central cavern, which is the very first level of Manic Miner.
Yeah, and in the original Jet Set Willy 2, nothing happened here. That was just the last screen, but you can actually play the central cavern in this one. And once you have grabbed all of the items in this room, then you actually go back to the bottom corner where the exit would be in Manic Miner. And when you do that, it actually teleports you to...
This is time, by the way. Whenever you want to call time on this.
But yes, the off license. And then, Doc, do you want to explain what happens if you try to escape the off license?
Yeah, so we try to escape the off license, and we end up back in Central Cavern, and we're stuck in an endless loop. So the only thing to do now is to die.
Yeah.
And when we die, we get a lovely well done message to say, you know, we did it. We got 100%.
Hitting work. And GG, Duck. That was an excellent run. So yeah, wonderful stuff. Anything you want to say, Duck, before we move on?
Yeah, well, we've got some more Jet Set Willy 2 coming very shortly with ruffled bricks at the controls.
Yes, I'm about to attempt a run of this game that is far more suited towards my skill set. So stick around for that if you'd like to see an alternative way that you can run Jet Set Willy 2. But also plenty more stuff coming up in the marathon, so please do stick around.
welcome back to UKSG's ZX Spectrum Marathon Day 3. We are now joined by Ruffled Bricks, who you've been hearing on commentary. He's also going to be running Jet Set Willy 2, but this time it's Cartography Room Item Percent. Ruffled Bricks, take it away.
Thank you very much, Huds. Yes, this is a alternative run on speedrun.com for this game, where if you're a little bit intimidated by running the full game, or even an any percent run, as I am, then you can actually do this little mini run instead, just so you've got something on the leaderboard. It's basically a sub 5 minute run, and I'm joined nonetheless by Digital Duck.
Hello again.
Just because I do want to concentrate on this to the best of my ability, so I will be letting him handle most of the vocals on this one. So the object with this run is we don't want to get all the items, we don't even want to get to the end of the game. All we want to do is we want to get the item in the cartography room, which is the room which we start in. So let's start off the run in 3, 2, 1, go. So I'm going to switch the music off actually for my run, and you'll see just how much quicker it actually makes the run, but still pretty difficult. So Duck, if you want to take it away and explain how this run works.
Yeah, so the cartography room is a very special room in Jet Set Willy 2. As mentioned before, it will add blocks to its layout as you explore rooms throughout the game, and they'll be green if you've collected all of the items in the room, or if there aren't any items in the room, and they'll be red if you haven't, if you've still got some uncollected items. When they're red, you can't pass through them, and when they're green, you can. And we basically, what we're going to do is we're going to build the map in the cartography room, and this will allow us to get up to the item that sits on top of the cartography room by creating the platforms by visiting rooms. It's this weird meta game, but it's really interesting from a run perspective.
Yeah, so here's my first damage boost that I'm taking. And we have to grab those items. Do you want to explain why, Doug?
Yeah, so if you don't grab those items, the room remains red. In the room you need to jump up to is red, so you can't actually get past it. And you will actually softlock the game if you do that, which is quite fun.
I'm having a hell of a time clipping into Highway to Hell here for some reason, but there we are. We got it on the 5th attempt. Highway to Hell has to be visited as part of the route to create the map, because it's the only room low enough. Well, no, I mean, Duck, you explain it in full, because I just realised I'm playing the game.
Yeah, so there's a the map is arranged top to bottom in the cartography room in the same way that it is in the actual world. Only the basement levels and the under the drive levels are low enough to actually have room spaces that you can jump on top of. So we need to visit at least one of those in order to be able to climb up to the top of the cartography room.
Yeah,
we also need to,
go on.
Also need to collect the item in the front room, because that's directly above the Highway to Hell platform.
Front
and if
door.
you don't collect
You said front
the front
room.
door.
Yeah.
Yes, the front door. Yep.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, it is in my house.
And if you don't collect that item, that room remains red, and it means that it blocks us from actually jumping up on top of the Highway to Hell room.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a few shortcuts we can take here. There's one I think I can technically take it in the 100% run, and with a slight detour, but I don't do this. But new to Jet Set Willy 2 is the ability to jump on top of even though I don't believe this, and warp into We Must Perform a Quirker Fleet, and that's a nice little shortcut.
Yeah, it's a very odd shortcut, and it doesn't really have that much use in any percent or 100%, but this run, absolutely perfect fit for it. And now I'm going to just damage boost my way to the cartography room. I would do more damage boosts in a run like this normally, but like for a marathon, I just wanted to make sure I got it right. And here is the shape that we have created as a result of our adventures, and time comes, we get the item. Time. And there we are. That is the cartography room item run of Jet Set Willy 2 Plus. I believe that is the quickest route that you can do in order to get the item in the cartography room. But if anyone reckons they can get it faster, then do let us know. Also, this route we only found this week, more or less. We used to go via the bathroom instead, via the teleporter, but Duck suggested we go via the off license, and it has improved the run tenfold, I would say. How quick was that?
We have a final time of 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Rapidly fast.
That's pretty good. So yeah, if you are intimidated by the full Jet Set Willy 2 Plus, then I highly recommend this run just to get your roar in. So there we go. That's the end of that one. And what's up next again?
Fantastic run. Yeah, coming up next, we're going to have Tiny Tim 78 joining us with Wonderful Dizzy Any Percent.
Excellent. Looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon. Welcome back to UKSG's ZX Spectrum Marathon Day 3. Coming up now, we've got Tiny Tim 78, and he's going to be showing us wonderful Dizzy Any Percent. Tim, take it away.
Thank you very much, Huds. Hello there, folks. How are we doing? My name is Tiny Tim 78, and today I'm going to be demonstrating a wonderful Dizzy for you. Fantastic game, this. I have with me Digital Duck again.
Hello again.
And we're going to get straight into it, and Duck will describe. I'm going to just let you talk about the first bit here, Duck, while I get sorted. And we're going to start. Ready for time in 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, so the first thing you might notice about this game is that it's I want to say somewhat a parody, somewhat a homage to the Wizard of Oz. We start the game by crushing a witch with a house, and then we team up with the rest of the Yoke folk to kill another witch.
Yeah, there's lots of witch whacking in this game.
Which is basically the story of the original game, so the original Wizard of Oz.
Bye-bye, Poogie. Poogie's getting kidnapped there by the witch, and we're going to go and get him back. That's the first sort of major objective, is to get Poogie back. But as Duck has just said, we have the other characters of the Yoke folk here portray various different Wizard of Oz characters. So it's very, very interesting. It's a very colourful take. Now, could you maybe talk about the engine and talk about this and how it relates to Crystal Kingdom Dizzy that we saw on Friday?
Yes. So this is Dizzy 8. It's the most recent game in the series. It actually was released last year, and very, very recently, was it in the last week?
Yeah.
There's actually been a recent patch that has changed a few things. We're not playing on that because it's slower from a speedrun perspective. So we're sticking with the original. It was made by the same developers as the Crystal Kingdom remake that we saw at the start of this mini marathon, and it runs on pretty much the same engine. I think there's a few tweaks, but it's nothing major. It's the same developers, and absolutely like faithful to the originals as best it can be, I guess.
Yeah, it's fun. It's one of the things obviously we said this when we talked about Crystal Kingdom, but the amount they've got out the spectrum here from a technical perspective is absolutely fantastic. I mean, this game looks beautiful. It really is one of the most gorgeous looking Spectrum games, and music is really good as well. In my opinion, it's not quite as good as some of the older games in the series, but everybody has their own personal preferences there. So would you like to explain these sort of yellowy star things that I'm been walking through, Duck?
Yeah, so these are coin stars as we know them now. Although we've always called them coins before. There's actually 100 of them scattered around the world. We need 99 of them to complete the game, and we will find out why towards the end. But as is common fare for Dizzy games, we just have to collect all of them to beat the game. There aren't any hidden behind any objects in this game, I don't think. But there are some that only become available after you complete certain tasks.
Yeah, there is. I think there's a couple. Yeah, you only get a few. There's none actually hidden behind. You don't have to vandalise the scenery in this game compared to some of the older ones to get all your coins, which is makes a nice change of pace. To be perfectly honest, but all the other old Dizzy staples like cloud jumping and lots of nasty water and stuff, and falling damage. Falling damage is something that's the thing in this game when it wasn't in some of the older titles. And it can be a bit of a thing. So what we're doing here is we're going up into the woods. Now this map is quite interesting. Would you like to explain what those little yellow arrows are on the map that we're seeing there, Duck?
Yeah, so this map is kind of 3D, which is new to the Dizzy series. Rather than just leaving a room through the top, bottom, left or right, we can also go into or out of various areas to travel in different directions. And I think what it does in total is it actually makes it less backtracky than if it was all on a 2D plane. We've now got a bit more movement options. But also it's quite necessary because it's a very big world. I don't know how many rooms exactly, but it's quite a lot.
Yeah, it's one of the bigger ones. I think only Spellbound Dizzy is, and maybe Crystal Kingdom, but not entirely sure, is bigger than it. But it's a fun little game, this. And as we said, it only came out in 2020. It only came out very tail end of last year, just before Christmas actually. And it took me a little while to finish it the first time. But I was very quickly able to get a hang of it and sort of. Once I beat the game the first time, I was into speedrunning it. Now, I will point out that this route here that I'll be using is ever so slightly slower. It is quite a bit slower than the current world record route. Faddy, who's got a record in a lot of these games, has recently given a shot at this game and knocked a big chunk off the world record with much better routing. But I will still be using the old route that I'm used to on this game. So it will be in the 40-minute mark, this run at the moment. I think Faddy's run is closer to 30 minutes. But there is a lot going on with this game. You have to get all the things in the right order again. It's very stereotypical Dizzy gameplay. In terms of the arcade side of things, the sort of action sort of things, this game, in my opinion, isn't as hard as the likes of Magic Land, for example, or Treasure Island that we saw, and Dizzy that we're going to see later on. Those are a lot more difficult in terms of sort of risk of dying than this game. Though I did manage to die here in practice. But generally it'll only happen if I make a fairly major mistake, like falling in the water here or something.
Yeah, this game's fairly nice on newcomers, but it is a testament to how very Dizzy-like it is. The fact that any Dizzy fan can basically pick it up and play through it and like figure out what to do fairly easily, and just have fun going through and reading the dialogue.
Yeah, the dialogue, unfortunately, we will be, as we do because it is a speedrun, we will be skipping the dialogue here, but some of it is particularly funny. It's very, very... And again, this game was written, we talked about them yesterday, this game was written by the Oliver twins, or designed by the Oliver twins. I'm not sure how much input they had in all the dialogue, I presume they did, they wrote most of the dialogue. But it's... and they were the original creators of Dizzy. And I think this as an idea has been around for quite a long time. I'm not sure what the history of it is, but I think they plan to do a sort of Wizard of Oz style game for quite some time.
I know they've had references to Wizard of Oz in a few other games, although I'm actually drawing a blank on exactly which ones.
There was a few in Magic Land. There was a couple in Magic Land at least. Definitely a couple. Can't quite remember off the top of my head. Magic Mirror, maybe. I don't know if that's exactly. Yeah.
That'd be Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Here we go. So.
Just trust us that there are some references in the older games as well.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Here we go. Right. So we're picking up the wand here. Now you will notice that all the characters, as we said earlier, we've got the witches here. All the two witches are Dora and Daisy. Denzel is the Tin Man. Dylan is the Cowardly Lion, and Dozy is the Scarecrow, and Grand Dizzy is TikTok. So all of the main characters, no Danny. Danny always gets short shrift. All the main characters make an appearance in this game. Right, okay. Ooh, that isn't quite what I wanted. There we go. Right, okie dokie. So, the most difficult part about this game, I feel, is again just making sure you know where you're going. It's quite a long route, and this is a longer game. It's longer than Magic Land in terms of a speed run. It's longer than Magic Land that we were doing. I'm going the wrong way here, aren't I? I've got lost. Where am I going? Yeah, I shouldn't come back in here. That's stupid. Right, there we go.
Yeah, this is a.
Yeah, there we go.
This is probably aside from possibly Spellbound, this is definitely one of the longest games in the series.
Okay. Right, we've got a few bits to do here now then. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over here. That statue sort of chap there, whatever the heck he is quite important. He will require you to present him with certain objects to let him pass. Oh, I'm always doing that. Got to be careful with that jump there. That's a bit of a pain.
So
Oh, sorry. Carry on, Doc.
no, I'm just making sure you're.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Okay, so
jump sort of
we're coming up to a door now that has two very interesting guards. One of them is a big Spectrum fan, and the other is a big Commodore 64 fan. And in order to satisfy them, we need to give the one who's a Spectrum fan a copy of Crash magazine, which is a very popular Spectrum magazine from the 80s. And we need to give the Commodore fan the Zap 64 magazine, which again is the Commodore equivalent.
Yep. There's always a lot of rivalry between the two.
Yeah, of course, everyone knows which one of those is best. If you're watching this marathon.
Yeah. Crash, Spectrum. Okay, we're going to go in here and speak to the wizard now, the wonderful wizard behind the curtain here. And we're going to pick up... I love that dialogue, by the way. They said, you killed a witch. You dropped a house on her. And he was like, oh, it's an accident. So, yeah, you did kill a witch, but... Right, okay, so... We're doing all right. Now, you'll have noticed that there's quite a lot of fruit lying around, like that one there, for example. I'm going to grab it just now, in fact. And just like the other Dizzy games, you do have a health system. You've got 3 lives in this game, which are the 3 little legs shown in the bottom left there. And you've also got the health system. The major difference on this game, as I say, is the falling damage, which is... yeah, it's not something I'm mega fond of, really. But it's there. Now, I think I made a mistake there. This is the bit of the run. I will admit that this run is a little bit rusty for me. I haven't done this one in quite a while, so I did do a practice of it earlier, which went okay, but I think I'm missing something. Right. No, that's not what it was. Yeah. Right, yeah, I know what it is. Drop the bucket there. Grab that mask. Go there. There we go. That's the mask. Right, okay, so that's that done. Right, what I've got to do now is give him the clock. And there we go. It's the face with no hands. Because these are all little riddles that he gives you, you see. And you've got to get all the items that he asks you for. So I'm going to grab that Xbox there. It's a box marked X. So it is indeed an Xbox. So
and it is a platform for playing games as well. But it might not be the one you expect.
There we go. Let's give him here. There it is. I believe I have this box marked X. There you go. And we get a dice off him instead. Right.
And he opens the box marked X to find it's actually a ZX Spectrum Next. Which is, possibly an improvement, depending on your view of things.
Well, it's quite impressive to get as a Spectrum Next, because there's not many of them around. Right, okay. Am I... Yes, I'm grabbing that now. And I'm also leaving those poppies. I should have left those poppies further back. I'm going to leave those poppies over here, just now. Don't forget them for later. Right, okay. I'm making a few wee minor inventory glitches here, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So,
We have a bucket, as always in Dizzy games.
Yeah,
It's not a Dizzy game without a bucket.
yeah, you gotta have a bucket. This is where we're gonna go now. We're gonna go with the bucket. We're gonna drop this key here. We're now gonna go up into the cliffs for the first time here. There's a cliff section up the top that we haven't been to yet. That's where we're heading next. So, but again, one of the things about this route is about this game running this is inventory management. We have talked about it before with all these games, and this one again is quite an example of that. Inventory management is very important because you've only got 3 items, and being able to juggle them is very important. So, right, I'm going to pick up these coins on the way up here. You do need to get all of these coins, as we mentioned. Well, there's 99 of them you need to get, actually. And, oh, it's unusual, but that'll do. Yeah. Right, so we're going to hop in here very quickly. We're going to grab this coin while we're here. We're going to grab this gear. We're going to come out here. We're going to go back up here. These birds, by the way, you may recognise them. They are exactly the same sprites as from Crystal Kingdom Dizzy. The worms are the same as well. Oh dear, that isn't what I wanted to do. Right, let's go here. There we go, that's fine. Right, and we can now fill our bucket. That's going to come in very handy. Just get some health on this next screen here, I think. Yeah, I'm going to get that health. This game, energy management is quite important as well. There is a lot of things that will damage you, and the fall damage is quite, as I said before, quite an issue. So I like to... Right, okay. So, just keep going here. Is there anything you'd like to talk about this? Oh.
Yeah, I'd like to say that the way that the game handles colour is especially good because, of course, with the Wizard of Oz, you've got the infamous yellow brick road, and we've also got the red brick road, and they're both quite prominent in the Spectrum's colours. But we've also got things like the forest, which are in like this muted blue. We've got the crystal area, which is very striking colours, all very different to each other, and they all look very good together, I find.
Yeah, it's a fantastic use of the technical capabilities. And okay, admittedly, this game is very modern, so the techniques perhaps used these days are perhaps things that weren't not necessarily not around, but maybe weren't sort of thought of back in the day. But this is a very fantastic use of the power of the computer, and it looks fantastic. I mean, it looks really nice. Right, okay, so we've been in here, we've been to the pier, we've been to the Fisherman's Wharf. We've also stopped by the Pirate Bay, which I thought was rather amusing. There's lots of little funny little in-jokes and nods in this game. Right, okay, so we're going to go out here, and we're going to...
We're also holding a Pac-Man toy.
We are indeed. We're going to drop the foghorn and the Pac-Man for now. We're going to leg it this way, picking up this on the way. So again, this is another section we haven't been into yet. Well, we've been roughly in this area, but we're now going to head past this area out towards the Witch's Castle. So we have the Witch's Castle in the background there. We're going to get a bit closer, and I like this bit because we have flying monkeys. Can't have Wizard of Oz with flying monkeys. So we're there picking all them up. And what good wizard doesn't have a dragon in their dungeon? So we have a Puff the Magic down here, which is actually quite unpleasant. Would you like to explain what happens with that dragon, please, Stuck?
Well, yeah, so it's not a very friendly dragon. And this one in particular will basically just burn you alive if you get close.
Yes, it will. Instantly charbroiled. So you really don't want to be to deal with that. So that's something we'll have to... oh dear, that was bad. Come on. Ooh, that was nasty. Right, now, you'll notice that I'm holding a bucket of water here. And there's a reason for that, because we're going to take this bucket of water through this rather horrible little maze of doors. Now, this maze here isn't actually that bad where you know where you're going. When you don't know where you're going, it can be a little bit challenging. It's not like impossible. It's relatively easy to learn, but what we're going to do here is we're going to go down over here, and we're going to go over, and we're going to drop down through that trapdoor, which is a trap, and then we're going to go through here. Now then, this is the next bit that I like. This is really good, this bit. This is what I call Wicked Witches Washed Quick, because we are going to wash a witch with our bucket of water. Because witches melt, don't they? Except... Duck?
Yeah, she's come prepared. She's decided not to be incredibly stupid like the witch in the actual Wizard of Oz, and decided that since her main weakness is water, she's going to wear a coat that's waterproof.
Yep.
And that will stop her from melting when she gets the bucket of water splashed over her.
Yep, she's a waterproof witch. So, yeah, that kind of is a bit of an issue. So we're going to come up with an alternative method to deal with Mrs. Witch.
2 buckets of water.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no, we've used our bucket. I don't know quite where it went, but you notice that in this game, and I believe in this game it occurs to every item, Duck. I don't know if we've established that or not. Ooh, I haven't clicked that door. That the items disappear when used. So I don't believe there's an item that doesn't disappear when it's used. But it's... Can we think of any?
I can't think of any. I think every item is used here.
Yep. So we're going to head off here. So we've got a candle here now. And this candle may not be doesn't look particularly useful. Oh, flying monkeys again. Oh, run. As long as you keep running there, as long as you jump into the room, then you can make it away without getting hit by those flying monkeys. Now, I'm going to make a little detour here. Because I'm going to go and see the lion over here. And I'm going to tell him that my witch washing plan didn't work. So he's suggesting that rather than washing her, we're going to drop something heavy on her. Well, it certainly worked for the first witch, so yeah, maybe try dropping something heavy on the witch. But in order to do that, we're going to go back. So we're going to pick up our Pac-Man and we're going to pick up our Foghorn here, and we're going to use these and head back over here. And so we're wombling back over this way. As I say, I love the colours in this game. This is also, maybe I'm wrong in this, but this is the first time that Disney's had a bit of an upgrade sprite-wise as well. Is that right, Duck? Or did he have a slightly different sprite in Crystal Kingdom? I can't remember.
I mean, he's had like new sprites for swimming and stuff like that, but I think his main sprite has always stayed the same.
Yeah.
For like the entire series. So this is the first time he's wearing a hat in game.
Yeah, he's got a hat.
At least on the Spectrum.
Yeah, he's got a hat and he's got a backpack as well, which kind of makes sense. Oh, getting birded a bit there. So what we have?
He is often shown with a hat in concept art.
Mm-hmm. Okay, quick honk on Dozy there to wake him up. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to use these items with this statue here. So we're going to give it the candle first, and then it's going to give us the pickaxe. We're then going to use the Pac-Man, the pizza that eats itself, and that is going to give us the parchment, which I am not going to forget later on. That's almost as bad as the handle in Magic Land for that. Right, okay, so we're going to leg it back over here. So what we're going to do is go and speak to this witch here. This witch is looking for a staff. Unfortunately, we've seen the staff. The staff is underneath the dragon in the dungeon. And of course, we get charbroiled if we go near the dragon. So what we do is we go over to this lovely witch. I believe is this one Dora or Daisy?
I think this is Daisy.
This is Daisy.
Dora's in the crystal.
Yeah, this is Daisy.
Area.
So we speak to this witch here, and we tell her about the dragon, and she suggests, well, narcotics will work. So she's going to make sleeping powder from the poppies, and we're going to get a sleeping potion for our dragon, and we're going to let sleeping dragons lie. So we're going to grab that, we're going to leg it over here. I'm also going to pick up the wand on my way out of here, and we're going to go back to the castle for another visit. So, but one of the things that sort of Duck mentioned, and I'd like to point out again, is the different areas of the game do look really, really good in terms of the colour palette. They're all quite distinctive. You can tell what area you're in, because they are very, very distinctive. An amazing use of the Spectrum colour. Really. I mean, one of the best uses of it I've seen. Right, let's just keep bumbling along here.
And of course, the original film was all about the colour as well. It was the That was the unique selling point of the film. Was its use of colour in an era where black and white was the prevailing thing.
Can you quickly mention, I don't know if anybody saw it at the beginning, can you quickly mention what happened at the beginning of the game there, please, Doc?
Oh yeah, the game actually starts in black and white, again, as a reference to the film. All of the opening titles and the first room you're in is in black and white until you leave the house and step into the world of colour.
Yeah, which is a nice little touch, really. It's very much a nice touch. Right, okay, we're going to leave... No, we're going to carry on here. We'll leave the wand here, sorry. Wasn't sure what I needed to leave the wand here. You'll notice I've also got 79 coins already out of the 99 I need. So they're fairly... I'm most of the way through on those, but unfortunately I've still got quite a bit to do in terms of tasks. So we're going to do a bit of flying monkeys here again. I do like those flying monkeys there. When I first played this, I wasn't sure how to get past the flying monkeys, and it turns out you actually have to run past them. There isn't a way you can get rid of them. You have to actually run. Right, and now what we're going to do...
There's no banana item you can pick up to distract them or anything.
Nope. Now, this is my favourite bit here. I love that dragon. That dragon changes colour, by the way, each time you go in the room. And we're going to have sleeping dragons lie. There he goes, he changed colour there. He's asleep now. This is the magic staff that witch wanted. So we're going to get that for her. And we're now... This, unfortunately, is a bit of backtracking. This is where my route is a little bit slow because I have to make an extra trip to the witch's castle. So that is why it's a wee bit slower. Because I've now got to go all the way back with this staff. I'm going to leave that key here while I'm doing it, though, because I don't need... That key is for later on. So here we go again. So there is, as I say, quite a lot of backtracking. Hey, it's a Dizzy game. You expect a little bit of backtracking. Or a lot of backtracking. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favourites to play, this game. I mean, when I first played it, I found it quite frustrating because there was a couple of points where I got a bit stuck because the solutions weren't immediately obvious. For example, after you wash the witch, I got stuck. I was like, well, what the heck do I do now? And you actually have to go and speak to the lion before you can advance it. And again, I got stuck with the dragon as well. I wasn't sure, well, how do you get rid of the dragon? Well, you've actually got to go and speak to the witch, and the witch will then tell you she can make a sleeping potion for the dragon. So, those actions are not obvious, perhaps, the first time you play through. So
I think it's more that the original Dizzy games weren't as character focused as this game is. It's much more about using items rather than actually progressing a story of sorts.
Yeah.
The fact this is a bit more story and character focused means you've got a bit of a few things that you might not realise you've got to do.
Okay, so what we're going to do in here is run through here, and we're going to put this. So this is coming towards not quite to the end game now, but once we kill the witch, we're on to the final sort of stretch. But there's still quite a few things we have to do after we kill the witch. But mostly killing the witch is kind of the main objective. And then you've got a few other things to finish off. So we're going to give this witch her wand here, her staff. And then she's going to give us a magic spell. Now this magic spell will help trigger a whole load of series of events that we need. We were stopped by that magic spell. We needed that magic spell. So what we're going to do is take this magic spell, and we're going to walk all the way back. Now I need to remember to pick up the wand here. Which should be, the wand is, I left it in the trees, didn't I? So it's up there already. So it's remembering where you've left your items as well can be quite important. It's also actually possible to leave things behind the scenery. So it is easy to forget where you've left something. Because the scenery is so colourful that it can be a bit of an issue. Right, okay. So we're going to leg it all the way back here. And we are going to get this. Go. Right, okay. So apart from a few minor inventory errors, this has been fairly smooth. I know for relatively rusty, I'm doing quite well on this. Right, now this is where things start to kick off now, because lots of things happen in this next section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up this wand, We've now got a magic wand and a magic spell. We're going to use this to sort this donkey out. And this donkey will then reward us with a Bitcoin. And if you'd maybe like to explain what happens on the Bitcoin, then what I'm doing with this next bit.
Well, yeah, so the 1 Bitcoin is worth quite a lot of money, I think, but we've got 1 whole Bitcoin and we're going to spend it in the Pirate Bay. Because pirates love Bitcoins.
Yeah, pirates like Bitcoins. So there we go, we get a Bitcoin for the pirate, which I always thought was very amusing. We get a cutlass for our Bitcoin. Get that coin there, which we need. And we come out here, we're done with the pirate now. And now this is moving towards the last bit. So what we have to do now, we have our cutlass. We're now going to use this to inflict severe depression on a witch. Just like we did with the poor first witch. We've still got bits of witch stuck to the bottom of her house, I think. But, right, so we're going to get up here. Flying monkeys again. There you go. And gotta get here. So this is the last time we go to the witch's castle now. And we're going to pick up that key, because we're going to need it shortly. Now we have everything we need now to deal with the witch. And we've got to go through this wonderful thing again as well. So, I mean, I do like this game, but there is quite a lot of repetition. There's quite a lot of things you end up having to do more than once in it. In terms of flow, I mean, what do you think, Duck? What do you think of this game overall? I mean, yeah, carry on.
I think it's just this room. I think because it takes such a long time to get through it, and it's a puzzle that's only interesting to solve once. Mm-hmm. So doing it multiple times just doesn't add anything other than runtime.
Yeah.
But we are coming up to my favourite subtle reference in the game, which is in this room we have 3 things
you'll see
in order.
Very shortly.
Here we go. We've got the lion on the left, the witch in the middle, and the wardrobe on the right.
Yep. And we now have a severely depressed witch, like that. There you go. And that's sorted, and the lion goes away and gives us a coin, and we're going to pick up the broom. We're going to use the key on the magic wardrobe. Oh, when you first speak to the witch, by the way, you ask about Poogie, and she gives you a reference. She says, you go, where's Poogie? And she's like, halfway to Narnia by now. Which I thought was rather, again, mildly amusing. The lion, the witch, and the wardrobe reference. So we've rescued Poogie, we've squashed the witch, and what we're going to do now is we've got the broomstick. And that's what the Wizard of Oz wanted us to get, was proof that we'd got rid of the witch. So we've got the broomstick, and we're now going to take it back. So this is pretty much going on the final section. We will be coming back to this, well, not this part, but we'll be coming back to this end of the map once more at the end. But we're now going to make it all the way back over to the other side. You know, we're on 83 coins here. So we're closing in on those as well. This is the last visit to the flying monkeys. 5 flying monkeys. Right, come past them. Okay. And they've got a magic wand and a broom. Now then, we're not going to go back the usual route now. We're now going to go an alternative method. Because this is now, we're going to do the caves again. We saw the caves earlier on, but we haven't fully explored that section. And again, there are coins in there. There's also something else that we'll see shortly. So I'm going to go and pick up this pickaxe now that I left on the bridge. And we're now going to go back up to the cave section. And hopefully that bird stays out of my way. There we go. Now I did quite a bit of this earlier on. I cleaned up a lot of the coins in here earlier. But I didn't clean it up all of it. There's a couple of little bits I have to do here. So the first one of those is this bit here, which is in this room. I've got to go over here. I can't normally get past that until I use the pickaxe. And that gets that out the way. So if you'd like to explain what I'm going to be doing for this next little section, please, Duck.
Yep. So we're picking up an item, and it's the Eye of the Tiger, which obviously is another 80s reference.
Okay.
And we're going to go ahead and we're going to slot the Eye of the Tiger into the eye socket of the tiger,
This doesn't kill
and that will
me.
open up a new route for us.
It will indeed. Because in here is our Rocky's Tiger Temple. And that tiger is missing an eyeball, so we put the eyeball in there. And that gives us... there's another really interesting item there, Duck, if you'd like to mention that.
Yeah, so that item there is a red herring, and it's a red herring. It's literally a red herring, and also figuratively. So it does absolutely nothing, except possibly fill up an item slot if you want it to.
Yep, it's the only item I believe in the game that's absolutely without use. So it is completely and utterly a red herring, which is kind of mildly amusing again. As I say, this game is very, very clever. I mean, it's a very, very good example of the sort of Dizzy humour. And as Duck said, we talked about the other day Prince of the Oakfolk being quite a nice, easy one to play as a beginner game. And this is probably quite a good one to do as well, to be honest. Because it's obviously quite modern. It plays relatively modern compared to some of them. And it's also, it's a fun setting. You might not get a lot of the 80s in-jokes, perhaps, but... It is still a very, very fun little game. Right, so now we've got a clock key and a broomstick. So we're going to leg it out here now. Now, this is where I could die if I fall in the water, so I've got to be a bit careful. This game, as I said earlier, is not as difficult in terms of the actual sort of platforming compared to some of them. Now, parchment. I've got to have that parchment. There we go. I'm forever forgetting that parchment. I didn't forget it this time though, which is good. Right, notice we're on 90 coins now. Oh, there's one there. I forgot that coin earlier on. So I'm going to get it now. So there you go. Drop down there. I can just whip in there and grab that coin. There you go. Okay, so we're just about finished. We're on the final stretch. We've got to go and give this broomstick to the wizard. Now, we have to wait for Poogie here. Because what he'll do is he'll womble across the place here. He's obviously made it all this way on his own. And what we're then going to do is we're going to wait until Poogie gets to here. And he's going to go behind the curtain. Eek, eek. And we find the wizard. There's the wizard. And we have a little chat to the wizard. And he's going to chat. And we're going to give him the witch's broom. Tried to give him the parchment paper there. There we go. Give him the broomstick. Proof that we have dispatched a witch. And what we have to do now is we've still got to sort out our friends. We've got to sort out the Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow. And that's relatively easily done now. We've got most of the pieces we need for it. So all we have to do is speak to him here. The Hedgehog wants... the Hedgehog? The Scarecrow wants a... oh dear. Oh dear. That's bad.
Spoken to Poggy.
I have spoken to Poggy. Let's hope it doesn't break it. Bet you it has. Okay, come on. Please don't break it. Oh, good. We're okay. There is a potential soft lock there if you speak to Poggy at the wrong time. And somehow I managed to avoid it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because you spoke to him once first before you spoke to Poggy. So I think that...
Yeah, that solved it.
I think that was fine.
Yeah,
yeah,
good. I was getting worried there. I thought that was... because that has happened before. And that's one of the bugs that's fixed in the new patch. But as we said, for speed reasons, we won't be using the new patch for speedrunning. We'll be using this one. And obviously wanting to keep an eye out on that bug. So, all I have to do now, I've got 2 items here. I've got a diploma to prove you're intelligent. We're going to give that to the Scarecrow. And we've got our metal heart for our Tin Man. So we're going to give that to him. So we're going to give the clever diploma to our Scarecrow. He's going to give us a football. Okay, there you go. And a... oops, I dropped the heart there. And a coin. So a knight 5. We should be pretty good for coins as well. In fact, I think we're on track. Okay. Again, unfortunately, a wee bit of backtracking here because you've got to come all the way back over here to get the Tin Man. And you've got to come back here again at the end once you've actually freed everybody. Which is a bit of a pain. That's perhaps the only one slight criticism I have of this game. And don't get me wrong, I love this game, it's great, but there is perhaps more backtracking in this one than is common. I mean, obviously Magic Land's quite a lot of backtracking, but I would say this is the worst for backtracking. I don't know what you think on that, Duck.
It's hard to compare them really because they're all like the actual the games themselves are different lengths, so it's hard to say whether this is actually more backtracking or if it's just because it's a longer game.
Yeah. Right, okay. So we've got 96 coins now. We have that football. So that football and the clock key that I had earlier on are the 2 items I need to sort out the lion. I've already sorted the Tin Man and the Scarecrow. So all we've got to do now is sort the lion, and then we've got to find a way out for ourselves as well. I've rescued Poogie. So pretty much all the objectives here now. We've only got 2 objectives left. So we're nearly there. This last bit does take a little while though, because as I say, you've got to go all the way back over to the Wizard of Oz to get him sorted, and then you've got to come all the way back over to the far side of the map to get another item, and then back to your house. So Dizzy Fair puts the mileage on in this particular game. He does in a lot of them, but certainly in this title. Right.
It'd be interesting to have a step counter for all of Dizzy's adventures.
It would definitely be very interesting. I mean, like I said, I think you're right though. Probably just due to the size of the game, it's either this one or Spellbound that would win because of the sort of length of them. Right. Okay. So let's go up here now. This is the final little section here. You haven't seen this section yet. We haven't. Well, we have. We popped here very, very briefly earlier on. This is the clock tower, and we have TikTok up here, which is Grand Dizzy. And we're going to give him the clock key. Oh, no, we're not. We're going to go down and get the clock key first because I left it down there, which wasn't very clever. There's the clock key. So we're going to get the clock key. I'm going to go up here and give this to Grandizzy. And then he's going to give us... Well, we're going to use the clock key first to fix the clock. And then we're going to give him the Wilson football. And that will then... he'll give us a medal, and we can then use the medal on the lion. And once the lion has his medal, we'll be good to go. We speak to the Wizard of Oz, and we will then be on our way. However, there is one last thing we have to do. Let's give him the medal first. Not very happy now, but he will be in a second when I give him a medal. He's going to roar. There he goes. I will always wear it with a roar. There he goes. Happy lion now. And that was our last coin as well. We've got 99 now. So the wizard is now telling us what we're going to do. So if you'd like to explain what we need to do for this last little bit, Duck, while I'm heading in that direction.
Yeah, so we're not going to click our heels together and say there's no place like home. Instead, our way of getting home is to do an up and attach 99 red balloons to our old house. To try and get it out of the land of Oz and back in the real world.
Yep. So we've got to leg it all the way over here now, and we're going to go to our friend the shopkeeper. Shopkeepers seem to be a fairly common thing in Dizzy games as well, don't they? Not in every game, but they definitely a few.
I mentioned it before, but I like to imagine that it's the same shopkeeper in every game. Even if it doesn't make any sense for that to be the case, just because it's like a recurring joke.
Right, okie dokie. So Yellow Brick Road, past the house. Now you have to make sure you send Poogie back to the house, which we've already done. There's been a couple of occasions when I've done this, and I forgot to speak to Poogie in the Wizard of Oz house in the Crystal City. So you've got to then go back and speak to Poogie again, because you can't leave. If you try to leave, it says you're not going to go and leave Poogie behind. So yeah, that is the thing. The game will not let you leave without Poogie, so which is fair enough, I suppose. Right, okay. I have to say I've been quite happy with this. There's been a couple of wee issues, wee stumbles, but overall it's been fairly reasonable, and I've not died, which is always good. Right, there we go. Come on, Mr. Shopkeeper. I'm going to give you. There we go. Yep. So we give him the coins, there you go, we get the 100 red balloons. Mr. Shopkeeper's going to disappear again. Right, time is coming up fairly shortly. Time will be when you see the house taking off, basically. The screen will change and the music will change. And you'll see the house taking off. Well, it doesn't actually take off, we get an image of it taking off. And that is going to be that. So that is Wonderful Dizzy. I do hope everybody has enjoyed watching it. It's a lovely little game, this. I do like it. It's not one of my favourites to speedrun because, to be honest, as a speedrun, it's perhaps not the most interesting. But it's a fun game. It looks beautiful. It sounds great. It's got some lovely dialogue. It's a great game to play casually. Right, here we go. We are coming up for time. 3, 2, 1, and time. And there is our house taking off with Poogie and Dizzy inside. And yeah, that is the run. Thank you very much indeed. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I'm going to cheat and we'll look at the... Yeah, I am a wee bit over time. I thought I would be. I did say at the beginning that I would be. 43 minutes. Ah, we can live with that. It's not terrible.
Not a bad run, Tim, is it?
Not too bad.
Nah, it's a fantastic one. Really
Okay.
enjoyed it. Cool. So we are going to head back to intermission. We are going to switch over restreamers as well, so you may experience a slight loss of the stream during the next intermission. Don't panic, we will be right back for the next one afterwards.